I started this new painting on the 17th of October. The intention was to learn more about Venus, as in goddess worship, and the connection to this idea of Lucifer as the light bringer, not something that's associated with evil. So the first thing I did was ask which way around the canvas needs to be, and I got that it needed to be this way, so like more like a portrait. And then I drew the sort of circles that would be the morning evening star, and then threw in some pentagrams. And I always have this idea that everything has to be connected and looped back together. Then I went over with some colours, and it looked like this, a big eyeball stood on really skinny legs. And at that point I turned it landscape because I thought that's how it needed to be, but it wasn't. It was only sort of part way through adding more colour that I realised that it needed to be portrait for sure. It looks a bit like a face with the left eye missing, which may come back to this myth of Horus who lost his eye to Set, possibly. There's sort of what looks like grass around the outside, and on the left it looks a bit like Venus flytraps coming in, which would make sense with the connection with Venus. And then around the outside there's these wheels again, which have come up on several different pictures. There's still some of that red energy left, but most of it has been absorbed in some of these other colours. There's just a close-up on those eyes in case you weren't freaked out enough before. Above the eyes are like, I don't know, 2 strands of a plant that I've just zoomed in on a little bit more, and then out of which comes this other symbol which either looks phallic or female, depending on how you're looking at it. And on the other side of that is this bird, which I think actually looks a bit like a pigeon, but it could be a dove. But I think there's bird associated with this idea of Horus as well. Even though it's a bit freaky to look at, I actually do like it. Again, I always like it when there's something that's a surprise, that is not just sort of like starting with the red and the pentagrams that you think, oh, it's just going to look like pentagrams or whatever you started with, but it doesn't. There is also this green cross at the top with almost like a person with green hair flowing, leaning into that wheel on the right hand side. I don't quite know what that symbolises, but it's interesting. And some sort of blue flowers off to the right hand side underneath that sort of phallic / yoni symbol, which I guess could be like an ankh in a way. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. I have updated my website a little bit. I'll put a link up in the bio, and there is some artwork for sale.